Welcome to TV Recaps. Today I will be recapping a supernatural horror movie. After experiencing a premonition of an impending disaster, a group of people escape death. However, one after another the survivors meet a gruesome and untimely end, killed in a string of bizarre accidents. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our channel. Please sit tight and enjoy the recap of the movie franchise, Final Destination 1 to 5. Oh, and of course, spoilers ahead. The show begins with Alex Browning, a high school student, about to board Flight 180 with his classmates for their senior trip to Paris. Right before takeoff, Alex experiences a premonition. He panics and tries to get off the plane. Carter, his classmate and rival, tries to stop him and a fight breaks out. Both of them get removed from the plane, along with Todd, Alex's best friend, Terry, Carter's girlfriend, Valerie, their teacher, and their classmates Billy and Clear. The plane explodes on takeoff, exactly as Alex had predicted, shocking everyone who survived. A month later, after attending a memorial service for the victims, a series of unfortunate events caused Todd to get suffocated by his shower head that night. To determine the cause of death, Alex and Clear sneak into the funeral home to examine Todd's body. William, the mortician, reveals that the survivors who escaped from the plane have disrupted Death's plan. To correct the plan, Death is now killing those who were meant to die from the accident. Alex and Clear are discussing their next move at a cafe when Terry and Carter pull up in a car. Alex and Carter start arguing and Terry walks away, frustrated by their bickering. While crossing the road, she gets run over by a bus. After watching a news report on the accident, Alex realizes that the survivors are getting killed according to the sequence of their intended demise on the plane. Their teacher Valerie is next on the list and Alex rushes to save her. Unfortunately, he is too late, and Valerie is killed by a falling kitchen knife. Alex meets with the remaining survivors Carter, Billy, and Clear to explain the situation. Carter, who is next, is enraged over Terry's loss and stops his car on a train crossing, trying to die on his own terms. He changes his mind at the last minute but his seatbelt jams. Luckily, Alex manages to save him at the last second. Carter's car is smashed into pieces by the oncoming train and shrapnel from the wreckage is sent flying towards Billy, decapitating him. Alex learns that because he saved Carter, it skipped to the next person on Death's list, Billy. The next day, Alex recalls that he swapped seats with his classmates in his premonition and realizes that Clear is actually next, not him. He rushes to her house to save her. Alex finds Clear trapped inside her car, which is about to explode from a gasoline leak, and surrounded by a loose electrical cable. He grabs the cable, allowing her to escape from the car just before it explodes. 6 months later, Alex, Clear, and Carter travel to Paris to celebrate their survival. However, Alex reveals that Death never skipped him after he saved Clear. Fearing that Death is still after him, Alex leaves the group. Out of nowhere, a bus drives into a parking sign, hurling it towards a neon sign which collapses and swings towards Alex. Carter pushes him out of the way, saving his life. Sadly, the sign swings back down, killing Carter instead. End of Final Destination 1. 1 year after Flight 180, Kimberly Corman, a college student, is driving to the beach with her friends for spring break. While waiting on the entrance ramp to the highway, she has a premonition of a deadly pile-up on the highway, killing everyone on it. She stops her car on the ramp, preventing others from entering the highway, including Evan, Nora and her 15-year-old son Tim, Kat, Rory, Eugene, Isabella, a pregnant woman, and Thomas, a state trooper. While Thomas questions Kimberly, the pileup occurs and her friends in the car are killed by an incoming car carrier. Thomas saves Kimberly at the last second. At the police station, Kimberly explains to the survivors that she experienced a premonition similar to the one Alex had about Flight 180, but no one believes her. Shortly after, while escaping from a fire in his apartment, Evan is fatally impaled by a ladder. Kimberly seeks help from Clear, who had committed herself to a psychiatric ward for protection after Alex was killed by a falling brick. Kimberly reveals to Clear that Evan was the last to die in her premonition. Unlike Clear's situation, the survivors are dying in reverse order. They rush to save Tim, who is next in line to die. Unfortunately, they are too late and Tim gets crushed by a falling window pane. Clear decides to help and introduces Kimberly and Thomas to William. who tells them that only new life can defeat death. They believe that the birth of Isabella's baby would disrupt Death's plan. They gather the rest of the survivors and explain the dire situation to them. However, Nora, devastated by her son's death, ignores Kimberly's warning and leaves. On the way down, Nora's head gets trapped between the lift doors, decapitating her. The rest of the group is shocked. They take Kat's car to track down Isabella, who has gone into labor and is on the way to the hospital. Along the way, the group realizes that the events of Flight 180 caused an outward ripple which ended up saving their own lives, even before the highway pile-up. To prevent further deviation from Death's design, Death is working backwards to tie up all loose ends. The car suffers a blowout, causing them to swerve into a stack of pipes. No one dies, but Eugene is badly injured and needs to be hospitalized. Kat is trapped in her seat by a log with a broken pipe inches from her face. Rescue workers arrive and work on freeing Kat from the car. Unfortunately, while sawing through the car, the impact triggers the car's airbag, which kills Kat. Her cigarette falls onto a gasoline leak from a news van that explodes, launching a barbed wire fence across the field, dismembering Rory, who was standing nearby. Meanwhile, Isabella gives birth in the hospital. However, Kimberly recalls that Isabella actually survived the pile-up in her premonition, and her giving birth does not affect Death's plan at all. Sure enough, an oxygen leak in Eugene's ward causes an explosion, killing both him and Clear. Kimberly has another premonition and realizes that she needs to drown herself to overcome Death's plan. She drives into a lake to drown herself but is saved by Thomas and revived by a doctor, disrupting Death's plan and saving both of their lives. End of Final Destination 2. In 2005, Wendy Christensen, a high school student, visits an amusement park with her classmates to celebrate their graduation. After boarding the Devil's Flight roller coaster, Wendy experiences a premonition. She convinces 9 people, including Kevin, her best friend's boyfriend, classmates Ashley and Ashlyn, alumnus Frankie, athlete Lewis, and goth couple Ian and Aaron, to get off the roller coaster. However, she fails to save her boyfriend and best friend, who continue on the roller coaster, which derails and kills everyone just as Wendy predicted. Weeks later, Kevin tells Wendy about Flight 180 and the survivors' subsequent deaths, believing they may be in a similar situation. The first 2 survivors to die are Ashley and Ashlyn. They get trapped in tanning beds which end up overheating due to an electrical malfunction, burning them alive. Convinced that death is coming for them, Wendy and Kevin set out to save the remaining survivors using hints hidden in photographs that Wendy took on the night of the accident. At a drive-through restaurant, a runaway truck rolls down the road behind them and is about to crush into their car. They manage to escape before it collides into them. However, the collision causes the vehicle's engine to burst out of the hood, killing the driver in front, who turns out to be Frankie. Next day, Wendy and Kevin visit Lewis at the gym to warn him. He refuses to believe them, convinced that he has beaten death. Lewis continues to work out. Unfortunately, the weights from the gym equipment come loose and crushes his head. Wendy and Kevin are shocked. Next, they visit Ian and Aaron, who are working at a hardware store. A chain of unfortunate accidents take place, leading to sharp and heavy objects falling off a rack onto Ian. Wendy saves him, forcing Death to skip to the next person on the list, Aaron. She falls on a nail gun and dies a quick and brutal death. Wendy tries to identify the next 2 survivors to die, but their faces are obscured in her photographs. Spotting a familiar necklace, Wendy realizes that they are Julie, her sister, and her friend. Wendy and Kevin rush to the local fair to save them. Kevin successfully saves Julie from being impaled but fails to save her friend. Shortly after, while trying to stop a runaway horse, Kevin gets kicked into an exploding propane canister, but is, fortunately, saved by Wendy. The trio is confronted by a grief-stricken Ian, who blames Wendy for Aaron's death and intends to kill her. An unstable cart of firework cannons fires off in Wendy's direction, but she dodges them and escapes death. Instead, the fireworks hit a crane supporting a platform directly above Ian, which falls and crushes him. 5 months later, Wendy, Julie, and Kevin have moved on with their lives, believing they have escaped death's plan. On a subway train, in an unexpected coincidence, Wendy reunites with Julie and Kevin. She experiences another premonition that the train will crash and kill everyone on board. Sadly, this time around, the train has already departed. and there is nothing they could do to prevent their impending deaths. End of Final Destination 3. In 2009, college student Nick O'Bannon watches an auto race with Lori, his girlfriend, and their friends Hunt and Janet at the McKinley Speedway for their semester break. Nick has a premonition of an accident on the racetrack, sending debris into the grandstand, causing the stadium to collapse and killing everyone. Nick panics and tries to get out of the stadium with Lori and his friends. A scuffle breaks out and several others leave the stadium, including Carter, a racist tow truck driver, Andy, a mechanic, George, a security guard, and Samantha. Out of nowhere, a stray tire flies out of the stadium and kills Andy's girlfriend. Following the accident, Carter gets drunk and drives to George's house to burn a cross on his lawn, blaming him for his wife's death. However, Carter gets dragged by his tow truck that is leaking gasoline and catches fire, burning him alive. Next day, while Samantha is leaving a beauty salon, a rock, propelled by a lawnmower, shoots through her eye, killing her. After learning of their deaths and the events following Flight 180, Nick becomes convinced that death is after them. With George's help, Nick and Lori find the next person on death's list, Andy. Unfortunately, they fail to save him, and he dies at a mechanic shop when a gas cylinder launches him through a metal grid fence. Next, Nick predicts that Hunt and Janet's deaths will involve water. George and Lori find Janet, who is trapped in a malfunctioning car wash, and saves her. Nick, however, arrives too late to save Hunt, who accidentally activated the pool's drainage system and gets disemboweled by the drain pipe. 4 days later, Nick realizes from a news report that another spectator survived the speedway's collapse due to his intervention. Nick and George track him down at a hospital where he was recovering from the accident, only to witness him being crushed by an overflowing bathtub falling through the ceiling. As they leave, Nick experiences another premonition of an explosion at the mall that kills Janet and Lori. Sadly, he fails to save George, who gets run over by a speeding ambulance. Nick runs to the mall to stop the explosion before it happens. A fire has started at a construction site in the mall, which was filled with combustible barrels. Nick tries to put out the fire but gets pinned to the wall by a nail gun. Nonetheless, he manages to extinguish the fire by activating the fire sprinkler, saving everyone in the mall. 2 weeks later, believing the crisis has been averted, Nick, Lori, and Janet go to a cafe to celebrate. However, Nick starts to see ominous signs hinting that death is still after them. Just as he realizes this, a loose scaffold collapses onto the road, causing a truck to swerve and crash into the cafe, killing all 3 of them. End of Final Destination 4. One morning, Sam Lawton, a Presage employee, is about to board a bus to a company retreat with his colleagues. Molly, his girlfriend, breaks up with him right before the trip. While their bus is crossing the North Bay Bridge, Sam has a premonition that strong winds will cause the bridge to collapse, killing everyone except for Molly. Sam panics and leaves the bridge together with Molly, his friends Nathan and Peter, Candace, Peter's girlfriend, Dennis, his boss, and co-workers Olivia and Isaac, right before it collapses. After being interrogated by Jim, a FBI agent, the survivors attend a memorial service for their deceased co-workers where they are being watched by Coroner William. Later, a chain of unfortunate events causes Candace to fall off the bars and snap her spine during gym practice. Next day, during an acupuncture session at a Chinese spa, Isaac's head gets crushed by a falling Buddha statue. William tells the survivors that if they wish to cheat death, they must kill someone who was not meant to die and claim their remaining lifespan. Sam and Molly rush to warn Olivia, who is at an eye clinic for a LASIK operation. The surgery goes wrong, and her eye gets mutilated by the laser. In a panic, she trips and falls out of a window to her death. Sam and Molly are traumatized by her death. Later, Sam learns that the survivors are dying in the order they were meant to die on the bridge and realizes that Nathan is next. He is at work in the factory and gets into an argument with Roy, his co-worker. A hook drops on them and Nathan tries to push Roy out of the way but kills him by accident instead. The other survivors arrive and believe that Nathan has claimed Roy's remaining lifespan. Dennis arrives to investigate the incident. Shockingly, a wrench, launched by a belt sander, tears into his face, killing him. To cherish their remaining time together, Sam and Molly rekindle their relationship over dinner at a restaurant. Peter, distraught over Candace's death, interrupts the date and decides to kill Molly to take her lifespan. Sam and Molly escape to the kitchen as Peter tries to kill them with a gun. Jim overhears the gunshots and comes to their assistance, only to be shot dead by Peter. He attempts to kill Molly, who is a witness to the crime, but gets killed by Peter with a steel spit. 2 weeks later, Sam and Molly board a plane to Paris. Before taking their seats, they notice a fight between two students, who turn out to be Alex and Carter, revealing that the plane they are boarding is Flight 180. Upon takeoff, Sam overhears Alex's premonition from a flight attendant and realizes that they are about to die. The plane explodes, killing everyone on board. Meanwhile, at Roy's memorial, Nathan learns that Roy is suffering from brain aneurysm and was going to die anyway. Shortly after, wreckage from Flight 180 breaks through the roof and crushes Nathan. End of Final Destination 5. Please stay tuned for the next TV recap. Comment below on what you liked or disliked about our video. Thank you for watching.